$767 a month. That's the average new car payment in America right now. Nobody questions it anymore. People sign a 6 or 7 year loan, hand over the down payment, and accept it as the cost of being an adult. In this video, I'll walk you through how the American car loan went from a 3-year commitment to a 7-year one, the two forces that engineered this on purpose, and the data point that proves this isn't a bad credit problem anymore. People with 800+ credit scores are already in the trap. And in the end, I'll show you how to drive a reasonable car and finish those same years with $43,000 more than the guy who pays the full $767 a month. To understand how this happened, you have to go back to 1963. Car payments didn't always look like this. This is a document from the Federal Reserve, the central bank that tracks every loan in America. It's from January 1963, and it breaks down every car loan in the country by length. Look at the numbers. 68.1% of new car loans, almost 7 out of 10, were between 31 and 36 months, just under 3 years. Only 0.6%, basically nobody, had a car loan longer than 36 months. Now compare that to today. The average new car loan term in America is 68.9 months, almost 6 years, and roughly 1 in 3 new car loans are 73 months or longer. About 30% of new car loans now run 6 to 7 years. Another 1.84% run even longer. Add them up, and you're at roughly 1 in 3. That's 6+ years of payments on a car that loses value every single month. Here's why this matters. A shorter loan means you pay the car off fast, then drive it free for years. A longer loan means you're still paying for the same car well after it's lost half its value. The first one builds wealth, the second one drains it. So how did we get from 3-year loans to 7-year loans? It wasn't one thing. It was two forces working in the same direction. The first one starts with how much cars actually cost and how much you actually make. In 1963, the average new car cost started from $3,233, and the median household income, that's the middle income, where half of Americans earn more and half earn less, was around $6,200. So the average car was about 52% of what a household made in an entire year. Today, the average new car costs just under $50,000, and the median household income is $83,730. So now the average car eats up about 60% of the annual household income. Cars used to take up about half your salary. Now they take up more than half. But here's the part that should bother you. If you adjust the 1963 car for inflation, meaning account for everything getting more expensive over time, that car should cost about $35,000 today, not $50,000. That's a $15,000 premium that has nothing to do with inflation. It's just cars getting more expensive, faster than wages went up to pay for them. Yes, modern cars have more tech, more safety features, more screens. That's all true. But you didn't get 50% richer to pay for it. You just got asked to. So cars got more expensive, but that alone doesn't explain why loans got longer. If a car costs more, you'd think people would just save longer before buying. That didn't happen, because someone made sure it didn't. Banks figured out something simple. The longer your loan, the more money they make. Let me show you the math. Take a $40,000 loan at 6% interest. If you pay it back in 36 months, your monthly payment is $1,217. And you pay about $3,808 in interest over the life of that loan. That's it. 3 years and you're done. Now stretch that same loan to 84 months, 7 years. Your monthly payment drops to about $584. Sounds like a win, right? Half the payment. But the total interest you pay jumps to about $9,085. That's $5,277 more in interest on the same car. The bank gets paid an extra $5,000 for the privilege of letting you pay slower. Quick side note in case this is your first time hearing this. Interest is the extra money banks charge for borrowing. You pay it every month, on top of what you actually owe for the car. So, stretch the loan out twice as long, the bank collects interest more than twice as much. Same loan, bigger profit. Multiply that extra $5,277 by the hundreds of thousands of car loans written every year in America, and you start to understand why banks made the long loan their default product. But banks couldn't normalize the long loan alone. Dealers helped. Walk into any car dealership in America today, and the first question they ask isn't, "What car do you want?" It's, "What can you afford a month?" That question is the trap. Here's why. Say a customer walks in with a $500 monthly budget. That same $500 a month gets them a $30,000 car on a 60-month loan, a $35,000 car on a 72-month loan, or a $40,000 car on an 84-month loan. Same monthly payment, different cars. The dealer makes more money on the expensive car. The salesperson gets a bigger commission on the expensive car. So the conversation always pushes towards the longest loan on the priciest vehicle. This is why more than 1 in 5 new car buyers, 20.3%, now have monthly payments over $1,000. That number used to be rare. Now it's normal. And here's the data point that proves it worked. Look at loan terms by credit score. People with super prime credit, that's scores of 800 and above, the safest borrowers in America, are now averaging 64.45-month loans on new cars. Prime borrowers, with credit scores between 661 and 780, are averaging 72 months. Let that sink in. The people with the best credit in the country, the ones who could pay off a car in 3 years if they wanted to, are choosing 5- and 6-year loans. The long loan isn't a sign of bad credit anymore. It's the default for everyone. Now, it's normal. That's how a trap works. Nobody notices because everybody's in it. Today, Americans collectively owe $1.68 trillion in car debt. That's more than the entire economy of Mexico. All of it is sitting on cars that are losing value every day. Two forces. They explain how we got here, but the explanation doesn't matter if you can't feel it. So next I'll show you what this looks like in real life. Real people, real cars, real numbers. And in the end, I'll show you how to walk out of 7 years $43,000 ahead of the guy paying $767 a month. But first, let's look at what today's numbers show. In 2022, a guy bought a Tesla Model Y, brand new, sticker price 72 grand. He financed most of it on a long loan and drove it off the lot feeling great. By 2024, he still owed 52 grand on the loan. But the car was only worth 38 grand. He was 14 grand underwater on a car he was still paying for. Quick context. If underwater is a new term, it means you owe more on the loan than the car is actually worth. If you sold it today, you'd still owe the bank money after handing over the car. You're in the hole. How did this happen? 2 words: depreciation and time. Every car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, a new car can lose more than 20% of its value in the first year alone. By year 3, it's lost nearly 40% of what you paid. That's depreciation. Now here's where the long loan turns it into a trap. On a 36-month loan, you pay down the principal, the actual amount you borrowed, faster than the car loses value. After 1 year, you've paid off a real chunk of the loan, and the car is still worth more than you owe. On a 72 or 84-month loan, that flips. After 1 year, you've barely made a dent in what you owe, but the car has already lost more than 20% of its value. You're underwater from month 12, and every month after that, you're paying for a car that's worth less than your loan balance. And that's just one car, one person. Most people watching this aren't buying a Tesla, so let me show you what this looks like across the 4 cars Americans actually buy, and what they actually cost over 5 years, not what the sticker says. For each one, I pulled the real 5-year cost of ownership from Edmunds: depreciation, financing, fees, insurance, gas, maintenance, repairs. Same zip, same assumptions, 15,000 miles a year. First, the Honda Civic Sedan LX, sticker $26,853. True 5-year cost, $31,469. That number probably doesn't make sense yet. The sticker is $26,853, but the 5-year cost is higher. Let me walk you through it. Over 5 years, you don't just pay for the car, you pay for everything that comes with owning it. Fuel for 5 years, $7,527. Insurance, $3,865. Financing interest to the bank, $4,778. Taxes and fees at purchase, $2,344. Maintenance, like oil changes and tires, $3,443. Repairs, $637. Add all of that up. You've spent $22,594 just on the running costs of owning the Civic for 5 years. Not the car itself, just everything around it. Now here's the second part. You still own the car at year 5, but it's lost value while you owned it. That's called depreciation. On the Civic, depreciation over 5 years is $8,875. So the real math is the $22,594 you spent running it, plus the $8,875 the car lost in value. That's $31,469. That's your true cost. That $31,469 is the responsible benchmark. A car that'll probably hit 200,000 miles, holds its value well, low running costs. Now, the Toyota Camry LE Hybrid. Sticker $32,552, $6,000 more than the Civic on paper. You'd think it costs more to own. It doesn't. True 5-year cost, $31,876, basically the same as the Civic. The Camry costs $6,000 more on the sticker, but over 5 years, that gap shrinks to about $400. Why? The hybrid burns way less gas, saves you over $2,000 versus the Civic, and maintenance runs about $700 lower. The higher sticker mostly pays for itself. Most people don't run the math, so they don't see it. Then the Tesla Model Y Long Range. Sticker $54,103. EV. Premium brand. The car that everyone wanted in 2022. True 5-year cost, $61,368. That's $7,000 more than the sticker, in the wrong direction. Why? Depreciation alone, $33,524 over 5 years, more than the entire sticker price of the Civic, just in lost value. That's the math behind the guy we just talked about. Finally, the Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew, America's best-selling vehicle. Sticker $56,967. True 5-year cost, $58,629. The F-150 has a higher sticker than the Tesla, but it costs almost $3,000 less to own. Why? The truck holds its value. Tesla loses $33,524 to depreciation over 5 years. The F-150 only loses $21,417. Yeah, the truck eats $12,888 in gas, but depreciation is the real killer. So here's the scoreboard. Civic, $31,469. Camry Hybrid, $31,876. F-150, $58,629. Tesla Model Y, $61,368. 2 cars under $32,000. 2 cars over $58,000. Almost double. The sticker price barely told you any of that. So what's the way out? 3 strategies, and one of them you can do today, even if you're already deep in a long loan. Strategy 1. Think in total cost, not monthly payment. Dealers focus you on the monthly payment because it makes expensive cars look affordable. Flip the math. Start from what you can spend in total and work backward to the car. Here's the framework. Take your monthly transportation budget, multiply it by 36, subtract your down payment. That's the price of the car you should be shopping for. Say you can spend $500 a month. $500 times 36 equals $18,000, minus a $3,000 down payment. That's a $15,000 car. Stretch it to 48 months. Same $500 gets you a $24,000 budget, minus the down payment, $21,000 car. Your real target is somewhere between $15,000 and $21,000. That probably means a used car. That's a good thing. The market is telling you what you can actually afford, instead of the dealer telling you what they want you to buy. That math tells you what to buy. The next strategy tells you when. Strategy 2, buy 2 to 3-year-old cars, the depreciation sweet spot. Here's the math. New cars lose the most value in their first 3 years. After that, depreciation slows down. The person who buys new pays for that drop. The person who waits gets a nearly new car for thousands less. Take the Camry from earlier. Say a new one costs $32,000. A 3-year-old version? About $24,000. That's $8,000 of depreciation someone else paid for you. And here's what most people miss. Modern cars routinely last 200,000 miles or more. A 3-year-old car still has about 80% of its useful life left. You're not buying a worn-out car. You're buying the same car, minus the markup the first owner ate. Most manufacturers also have certified pre-owned programs, warranty, dealer inspection. Most of the protection comes from buying new without paying for the depreciation cliff. Those 2 strategies work if you haven't bought yet. But what if you're already in a long loan, already underwater? You're not out of options. Strategy 3 is for everyone already in a long loan. Most people are watching this, so let's deal with it. Option 1. Make extra principal payments. Principal is what you actually borrowed, separate from interest. Most loans let you pay extra toward principal without penalty. An extra $100 or $200 a month can shave 12 to 24 months off of a 72-month loan. Option 2. Drive the car well past the loan. Finish paying after 72 months? Plan to drive it for another 3 to 4 years. That's where the math finally tips in your favor. Years of no car payments. Modern cars can handle it. Option 3. Refinance it if it makes sense. If your credit score has improved or rates have dropped, you might qualify for a lower rate, or a shorter term. Take a 72-month loan and refinance it into a 36-month loan. The monthly payment goes up, but you escape the trap faster and pay much less interest overall. And one thing not to do not roll negative equity into a new long loan. Trade in an underwater car and let the dealer wrap the leftover balance into a new 84-month loan? You've just restarted the trap, with more debt, on a bigger asset. That's how people end up with a car payment forever. These strategies stop the bleeding, but the real question is what happens to the money once you stop overpaying and start putting it somewhere that actually grows. Look, I'm not telling you to drive a beater for the rest of your life, but you don't have to go from $767 a month to zero. Even cutting your car payment in half changes everything. Cut your monthly car payment from $767 down to $400. Buy cheaper, maybe used, maybe 3 years old, maybe a Civic instead of a Camry, whatever it takes. $400 a month instead of $767. The difference is $367 a month. Take that $367, the money you would have spent on a fancier car, and invest it. At 9%, the long-term average return of the S&P 500, here's what $367 a month builds. By the end of year 1, you've already got $4,600 sitting in an account. By year 3, it'll grow to $15,100. By year 5, $27,800. And by year 7, the same length as one of those long car loans most people are signing today, you're sitting on roughly $43,000 from cutting your car payment in half. Meanwhile, the guy who kept the $767 payment, he just made his last payment on a new car he bought 7 years ago. That car is now worth around $18,000 because the car losing its value. He owns it free and clear. Good for him. But that's it. That's all he has. You have a reasonably good car and $43,000 in the market. He has an $18,000 car and nothing else. You don't have to live like a monk. You just have to stop paying for cars you can't afford. If you've got $50,000 sitting around, or you're building to it, there's one ETF that eventually pays you more every month than your full-time job. That video is on screen right now.